Hi everyone, today's topic is healthy pets. And I get this a lot in my emails, like how do okay, raw food for people, but can cats and dogs be raw food? And if so, what do I feed them? A lot of people I know, their cats are getting renal failure, their kidneys are shutting down, their dogs are getting arthritis. So with me today, I have a special guest, Dr. Ruža Bogdanović. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did, Mark.
And you wrote a book many years ago called
Love Your Pet, Let Nature Be the Vet.
Love Your Pet, Let Nature Be the Vet. I got the book. I love it. It really helped me a lot, and we'll show you how to get it at the end of the video. It's still available, right?
Yes.
Okay, again, Amazon, stuff like that. Just to start things off, you had a dog that lived to be, what, 25 years old or something?
Yes, a German Shepherd.
And they usually start having like hip problems, like what, 8, 9, 10 years into if they even live that long.
Yes, and now even earlier they start having problems.
Yeah, I think one of the big problems is we're just feeding them junk food, right? This is the canned food, the kibbles and all that stuff. It's just not stuff we find in nature. Go ahead, tell people about healthy pets.
Okay, thank you, Marcus. I appreciate this. Well, the most important thing that I found is from my experience with animals. And I think you'll hear different opinions from different people, but I think the experience is what counts the most. And having pets all my life, and originally when I became a naturopathic doctor, nobody wanted to listen to me. But if I could cure their pet, then they did.
Right.
It was just always ready to hear that. And also pets will always do what you want them to do because they don't have a choice.
Right.
Where kids and people, they'll just, after they go to a healing place, they'll go and eat McDonald's, but dogs will not, and pets will not. So the success with animals is so important because you can actually do what you need to do. And what I learned, the best way to keep them healthy and long-lived is to keep them as natural as possible. Give them plenty of sunshine, grass, walking, microbes under their feet. I've helped many people because their animals will have rashes and all kinds of problems. They would be walking on the carpet, and I say, you need to put your dog on a dirt and dust. And what happens, the little microbes hide between the toes, and if you ever notice, and if you have animals, you will see that they would actually lick between their toes after they eat. Why do they do that? To get microbes.
It's like B12.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right, exactly.
Yeah.
So what people are going to say, well, I live in a clean house. I don't want the pet to dirty up my house. So what do we say to them?
Well, the dogs are not dirty. They usually are very clean animals, and cats also. They don't want to be dirty, but they have to have those microbes. And where are they going to get them? Sometimes they roll in the dirt, and cats would lick their fur, and that's where they get their microbes.
Is there a supplement? A microbe supplement? I know people are going to ask this. I'm going to ask you the obvious questions that people
Well,
have.
I'm sure that there is a way that you can do it, but why not just take a box of dirt and some grass and put it in the house if you have indoor pet? And you watch, they're going to be spending lots of time on that.
I know the women are going to freak out saying, oh, it's going to dirty up my house. There's going to be paw prints all over the place.
If you want to, I notice the people that have indoor pets, they really have to be careful with. They have to have grass for them, they have to have dirt, they have to have also tea water. For instance, people don't realize that you can actually make a healthy pet, but soak in some good herbs in the water, and you will see that they will drink that water more than they would drink the water that is out of it.
Because in nature, when there's a river or a stream, leaves fall in the river, and it's natural tea. It's actually not pure water. There's all kinds of stuff soaking in the,
exactly.
in the puddles that they drink out of. There's all kinds of stuff.
I mean, all the things that we learn from animals, it just blows me away how they can heal so quickly. And one of the best way to heal them is fasting.
Well, what we're doing is we're taking animals out of nature and putting them into a synthetic, sterile environment and wondering why they're not healthy, right? I mean, they need to be in nature.
Another thing that I noticed, that the animals that are free in the nature, of course, they don't get sick, they don't have any problems with anything, but we make a mistake by thinking that they can actually be happy just by giving them supplements.
Right.
But there's something that they cannot get in a bottle. They have to have a natural environment and stuff.
Most of the food that we feed them, the canned food, it's like the worst junk that's left over from after making human food, right? It's the leftover stuff that nobody wants, the animal parts that are garbage, and then they mix in wheat and stuff that the animals will never even naturally eat.
Plus, there's no enzymes in it. They add certain things in the food so they would get addicted to certain brand. They even put nicotine in the food, caffeine and all kinds of stuff.
And cats don't eat kibbles in nature. It's not a natural thing. It dries out their kidneys, and no wonder they start having kidney problems, right? I know cats and dogs are two different things. Like dogs, they can eat anything. Cats, from what I understand, they have to eat meat. Is that right?
Well, yes, they do, but when they eat meat, they eat it.
They eat the whole animal with bones and everything.
Yes, everything. So that's the key.
But dogs, you can feed a vegetarian, vegan, raw vegan diet, and it's okay, right?
It's okay, but I think they still like to eat. They like bones. We feed our dog lamb with, the brittle bones and things like that.
And again, I'm asking questions people are going to ask. Well, when they eat the bone, when they crunch the bone, don't those sharp pieces cut them up as they're swallowing?
Not when they're raw. The raw bone doesn't.
Only cooked bones.
Only cooked.
This is important for people to realize. Cooked food is just dangerous in all ways.
Every which way. And, plus no enzymes.
Right, exactly. Just give us an example. What do you feed your dogs and cats and stuff?
Well, our dogs are free nature and they run around and they usually eat wildlife. They eat whatever they can get. Sometimes they eat lizards, snakes, birds.
Most people don't have access to that. And in your book, you gave a lot of recipes for raw food, and you explained, and I'd like you to explain a little bit to the people, how you got into this in the first place. It started with the people, right? And then it got into the animals afterwards. You realized raw food was the only way to go for real health, and then you kind of said, well, the animals, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, basically what happens, I'm seeing more and more hospitals for animals appearing everywhere. And I said, these poor animals are on IVs and they're having all these health problems. Why don't you just let them be natural, A lot, like you said, a lot of times it's impossible if you have indoor pet and you can't have time. But even if you have indoor pet and you have a cat, for instance, you want to put it on the sun, open the window so the cat can get direct sun versus just laying on the window in the sun. Everything that's real is more natural, more better. They have better side effects. And healing in animals that are not well is very easy. All you have to do is take them away from that and give them, in nature there are no rewards or punishments, only consequences. So just do what's right and you will have right results.
So people that don't have the woods nearby or a park, what do you suggest, other than buying canned food and kibble, what do you suggest they start feeding them? Like in your book, you have some. Give some examples.
I have lots of good recipes. Well, first of all, for cats, it would be good to have some raw meat, especially organic, wild, anything that you can get.
But not cooked.
Not cooked, right. Yeah. So you start with the raw food, and at first they might not recognize it, or because they've been on it for so long, they might not want to eat. So if you take them away, you always want to do it gradually,
right.
But give them a meal, and when they start feeling that desire for the real thing, their instincts are still on, they will start to eat.
Cats are a lot finickier than dogs. Like they can actually refuse to eat for a week, right? They'll just like, nope, not me. I want the junk, and that's it.
If they refuse to eat, that's actually good, because during the period that they're not eating,
they're fasting.
Fasting and cleansing. But I'll guarantee you, when they get hungry, they will. But they know their masters are a little bit soft-hearted, so they're going to throw in a little bit of something.
They're like women. They know. Right?
That's right.
So, so dogs are a lot easier to deal with. They're just like kids. They just want to have fun. They just want to please you. I just want to pull out some information about some examples of food that you make for your dogs in your book. I don't have it with me, but there was some great I wanted to eat some of that stuff.
I know. We make all kinds of good stuff. I mean, the sky's the limit. You can start whatever. Depends what kind of a cat you have and what kind of dog. If it's a Labrador, he'll eat anything. We never throw any food away. He will just literally eat anything. Now, there are certain things about food combining that for animals just as good for us. So you have to be aware of that as well. But I think basically start with the simple recipes and give 1 or 2 meals that are simple. And then you can, give them like dog biscuits that are made out of grinded up almonds and walnuts, and put a little bit of grass in there or anything. Mix it up. Some garlic if they're worms. Some high protein if they needed more, depending whether they're nursing puppies or they're not. So you just kind of do it the same way with people, but you just have to make sure that they're getting the most important element, and that's sun, pure water, and exercise.
Well, that's for people too. Yeah. I mean, that's no different for
people.
No
different, really no different.
So really what you were doing is you were making instead of like canned dog food, you were making pate out of nuts and seeds and stuff like that,
and
which is what we do, right?
That's right, and they love cats. I was babysitting a lady's house that eats nothing but steak and barbecue all the time, and she went on vacation. She said, make sure you give my cat some grapes when I'm gone. Where are the grapes in the refrigerator? So I went to the refrigerator to open it. There was 5 big, huge, different kinds of squares of cheeses in the refrigerator. And the cat wanted grapes. Can you believe that? the great cows.
The cat's smarter than the people.
That's right.
What foods are animals not allowed to eat? Like chocolate can kill dogs and stuff. So what do you find? What to warn people? Like, don't give them
To warn. I think that definitely sugar is number one. Don't give them anything.
Same with people.
Same with people.
Yeah.
I think we had a German Shepherd. They ate a bunch of M&Ms 30 years ago, and he survived. So I think there's no need to scare people about, well, not to give animals, but I think it's important to know that keeping stuff away from them that is not good, sugar. I mean, everything that we eat turns into sugar. So why not give them some that turns slowly into sugar versus some that's going to cause, all kinds of problems. So. But I think there are dogs that could eat a little bit of everything. Even a poison in a small doses could be a cure. So I wouldn't worry about it so much. But I think just the biggest mistake that people make, they give their pets table scraps from the cooked food.
Right.
Like I was, my dog loves bones, but I give him a raw bone. Give him a raw bone that's going to have all the enzymes and everything in it, versus giving them cooked stuff from the stew or whatever,
Right.
And once they start eating raw food, they're not going to want to go back to the cooked food.
So would you say stay away from all kibble for all animals?
I think that would be the best, and one of the main reasons is that, number one, it doesn't have enzymes. Number two, it has a lot of combinations like corn and things that it's not really designed for animals.
Yeah, they put wheat in it's like they're eating bread.
Especially genetically modified wheat that they use today.
It's just bad. I mean, the stuff that they feed animals is just pathetic, and then they wonder why they have all these problems.
But number one reason also is just not the food, Marcus. I think people don't realize the vaccinations. I have always problems with veterinarians if the dog has epilepsy or a cat,
Some vets won't even touch a pet unless it's been vaccinated. Yeah. So how do you get around that?
Such a ridiculous thing. Well, you have to find a holistic veterinarian. Right. And also it's so important that these dogs and cats have been so inbred for so long that they're artificial. They almost lost their touch with nature. Right. So what I would do is I would recommend no vaccinations. I would recommend the least amount of artificial lifestyle, and definitely vaccinations. They have reduced the vaccinations limit for the pets now, where before it used to be every 3 months. And I asked a friend of mine that's been veterinarian for 40-some years, and I said, why are so many dogs getting epilepsy? And he's blaming it on the breed. And I said, let me show you why. And I took a picture of the colon, and I told him that the upper part of the colon, transfer colon, represents the brain area. And if that is clogged up, the dog or cat's going to have a problem. Right. He said, oh my God. He said, I never heard of that. That makes sense, but they couldn't prove it. I said, I could prove it. And I proved people that have dogs that have epilepsy how to reduce that. Yeah. But just put them on a nature diet and keeping the bowel open and the intestines working so they can absorb the nutrients, and that the electrical connection will.
Yeah, I wrote about that in my book, Heal Your Face. It talks about the this one here, but how every part of your face is connected to different parts of your body and your teeth and everything.
Yes.
It's like the Chinese have known this for 3,000 years, and that it's all connected. And it's not just, like you said, it's not just the food. It's like it's the stress levels. It's if the owners are yelling at each other, you're killing the animal. It's absorbing all that negative energy. And you need a happy environment. You need something that's peaceful, relaxing.
Yeah, stress is number one killer for. Yeah. And the cause of the disease.
Just like with humans, it burns out the adrenals. Suddenly the absorption of nutrients is no longer good. They can't sleep right. It seems like some of the biggest problems with dogs is, at least with, you have a German Shepherd, is hips and things like that. For cats, it's like heart and kidneys. I know, sorry, I'm jumping all over the place here, but a lot of people, they already have pets that are already vaccinated, so I know a question I'm going to be getting a lot of is, well, it's already been vaccinated. Is there some way to detox it?
Yes.
Is it like people with green juices? Or?
Yes, that helps also with the pets. Detoxifying and putting them on a raw food diet really does magic for pets.
Will pets drink green juices?
Oh, they'll do anything you want them to do. If you're just strong enough to let them hang in there. But I think some of these conditions, I do believe that a lot of diseases are not genetic, but because of high breeding and everything, some of the animals do inherit some weaknesses. But that could be corrected, because if they were genetic, why doesn't that happen when the puppy's first born? It happens because they all follow certain diets.
Right.
And the diets will absolutely get that animal to that position where they're having problems, physical problems. I do believe that most diseases are not genetic.
Well, I write about this on my stuff in epigenetics. They've proven that you can reverse the genetic. It's just a bunch of switches that are either on or off.
Yes.
And you can change the position of those switches by resetting them through different mechanisms. So yeah, it's funny. I laugh when people say, "Oh, it's genetic. There's nothing I can do about it." You know, with themselves too.
Exactly.
It's like it's my family. It's genetics. It's same with their pets. I can't deal with it. I'm going to work. You know, it's sad. And those poor pets are stuck in that house, they're stuck in that lifestyle. You pulled something out of nature, you put it in a plastic box, and you're wondering why it's not happy and
That's
healthy.
right.
You know?
But things are turning around, Marcus. I believe that things are turning around and more people are aware of that. And I'm hoping that my biggest thing is that they will quit vaccinating so much because it's unnecessary. It's totally unnecessary. And just the latest thing, I don't know if you heard about this vaccination thing for people and animals. They will not allow dogs to go to the grooming place if they're not vaccinated. They will not allow kids to go to school if they're not vaccinated. So this is what I'm coming up with. And I wrote this in my book, The Cure is in the Cause. If that is the case, why are the people that are vaccinated worried about the non-vaccinated ones? Because it doesn't work. Your immune system is so much better when it's not interfered with the blood and the vaccines.
Right.
So, I mean, they're just making this up because they want everybody to be vaccinated. They want everybody to be dumbed down, and it just doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, it's funny how the kids that play around in the dirt are healthier than the ones that are kept sterile and clean all the time. The same with animals.
Same thing. Dirt, dust. Deepak Chopra told me one time, microbes can live without us, but we cannot live without microbes.
Exactly.
And I mean, that's so simple.
People don't realize that our bodies, the 60 trillion cells, 2/3 of it is not us. It's not our own cells. It's something else that we're coexisting with. It's a bunch of different communities that are existing together.
Part of the whole picture. Our system is designed to have 85% friendly flora and 15% unfriendly, and they keep each other in check. So why go against nature? Just let it be. But I think living food diet and organic, biological diet is very important, and wild things are very important, and also mineralizing your body. And our animals, if they're already eating all that animal that has hormones, what is that going to do? I see a lot of dogs with bulgy eyes, thyroid problems. Why? They're watching TV until 2 o'clock in the morning.
It's like people.
Just no difference.
I know. They're all hyper on their drugs and sugar and
Yes.
stuff. Just to sum this up, is there any basic being in nature, as much as being as natural as possible?
Yes.
Happy, healthy, clean, lots of water.
Everybody thinks the food is the most important. I would say less food is better. I would say natural lifestyle is so crucial. Less stress. A lot of animals are locked up and they don't get to be outside and play and do things. Less stress, and I think that would be the main key. Less food, less stress.
No kibble.
No kibble. And definitely take a look at what you're buying and what kind of food. There's lots of good food.
Are there any brands out there that you know of that are sold or ready to go in a can that are okay?
Remember, the canned food is cooked food. And they have to use something to preserve it as well.
Right. Like Whole Foods has a freezer section now for pets where you can buy frozen, real just chopped up
That's right.
parts.
I think, sad to say, but I think they don't have to have so much animal parts, and especially, the way it was done naturally and without suffering and stuff like that. But animals can live healthy and happy with a variety of other food.
Dogs, if you're a raw foodist, you can basically feed your dog what you're eating, right? Now cats, I've seen people go, I have a vegetarian cat. And I'm going, that doesn't necessarily mean it's good, right? I mean, it's vegetarian, which means it could be cooked food, probably is.
Yes.
There's probably all kinds of junk in there. But don't cats need meat too? I mean,
well, they do by nature. I mean, no matter what you feed your cats and you let it out, she's going to go catch a lizard or a bug or a grasshopper.
But these people who are proud that they made their cat vegetarian, how do you feel about that? Does that feel right to you?
Not so much that it feels right to me. How does it feel to the animal? I mean, if that animal is happy and she's getting variety and minerals and nutrients, then it could be all right. But I'll tell you one thing that I noticed in nature, and I love to watch all the animals. I saw a goat that we brought on our property to eat poison oak. And one day I saw a grasshopper flying around, and the goat went after the grasshopper.
Really?
I was shocked. I was just so shocked. And I think that all the animals will eat, if they can get something, they will eat something other than grass. So our nature tells us that if it's a living thing and it's fine, how many bugs do you think a cow eats while she's eating the grass? And we're getting
Right. Even monkeys eat ants.
Wow.
So how are you personally you were a raw foodist. Are you still a raw foodist
Yes.
completely?
Yes,
Raw vegan?
pretty much.
So
Pretty much.
no meat, just...
No. And I think...
Do you feel like you're lacking anything?
No, we're not lacking. But I believe that even the raw vegans need to have so much more variety than their...
Right. The 12 things they eat over and over.
Yes.
Yeah, they eat the same things every time they go to the store.
I think it's so important to have that mineral content and variety, and perhaps more fermented cheeses and things like that. We use a lot of that.
Cheese meaning not dairy, right?
No, just seed cheeses.
Right.
That's
So your book, where can they get it? Do you have a website?
the best way to go to my website, thecuresandthecause.com.
And that's another book of yours, The Cure is in the Cause, right?
Yes.
Which talks about
That's
healing
the-
yourself with raw food and cleansing.
That's the book that's very thick. It's got about 300, 400 pages. And that one's been the most productive because I go back to simplicity and nature, and
Right.
I think it's so important to know that there are no such things as incurable diseases. All incurable patients are not willing to do what it takes.
Your title, The Cure is in the Cause, which the website is curesinthecause.com, sounds like what I'm saying is like, people keep coming and saying, what do I take for this? What do I take for that? I say, it's not what you take, it's what you stop doing. Stop doing what caused the problem in the first place. But people don't want to do that. No, I want to keep doing my pizza, my cigarettes, my cheese, my bread. But just give me some herb to get rid of the diseases I'm getting because of it, right? It doesn't work that way. You have to stop the cause.
The cure is in the cause. Now, there are so many different causes, so you need to find out which one it is. Like, for instance, I related that at last stages of liver cancer, and by the time we got to the bottom of everything, come to find out that she was taking artificial sweeteners so she wouldn't gain any weight.
Oh, yeah.
So I got rid of the gum, got rid of all the artificial stuff, and the body cannot wait.
Yeah.
Body cannot wait to heal it.
Yeah. You have to look at everything, the relationships that they're in, the job they have, the environment. It's not just food, it's everything. It's the whole package deal.
Dr. Jensen, my mentor and just a beautiful person that I learned more than I did from any college education, he says that I have to love you for my own good.
Right.
So that's number one. Number two, you cannot work and do some work that hurts others. You have to do work that will heal people.
Right.
For instance, a guy had leukemia and came to Dr. Jensen. He said, well, what are you doing? What do you work? What's your work? He said, well, I sell Coca-Cola. He drives Coca-Cola trucks. He said, well, you can't talk to me anymore until you change your job. I can't help you.
Yeah.
And the man was so impressed, he quit the job and healed himself.
Oh, that's nice.
So everything that you do reflects on other people. So you have to be aware and conscious. And we still work with kids, and we don't charge for kids. We never did. Ever since Jesse was born, I promised him. He asked me, Mom, could you promise me that you will never charge for kids, because it's not their fault that the parents don't know what they're doing. So we've been helping kids all over the world. That's our biggest mission.
Great. Well, you should start them young before they start getting into bad
We
habits.
get them in kindergarten, and then unfortunately a lot of hospitals send them home to die, and they come to us and they say, what can we do? And we put them on raw food juicing and low stress, back to nature, and it's amazing how it works.
Well, good. So they can reach you or at least start to get
At thecuresandthecause.com, or my email address is drruza@gmail.com.
And people, don't drive her nuts, okay? Give her let her enjoy some part of her life here. Because I get 300 emails a day, and they ask you the most insane questions. Like, some people are like, they don't even want to think. They just want,
They just want a quick answer. They want a quick pill.
Yeah, and a lot of times what you tell them is what they don't want to hear. But, well, thank you so much for coming.
My
I know
pleasure.
it's been years trying to get you here. I mean, you've been you live in Croatia half the time, right?
Yes, on this beautiful island, and we're out in nature. When I was talking to Liz Hayes, and she told me that her favorite thing is to be in the garden with her dog, and that's kind of what I like.
It is. It's therapy.
It is beautiful.
Plants and animals are...
Yeah, I just want to say one more thing before I go, and that is that we're in this world to heal our wounds and heal ourselves. And then, as soon as we do, that energy and the love that we have will help heal others.
Yes. Well, you got to be we have to do it to ourselves first.
Yes.
And then other people watch. We become the example. We inspire them. They have to see proof that it works. Right? So we have to prove to them that it works. It's been a pleasure. Thank you finally for coming.
Okay, Marcus. Thanks,
folks. We'll see you next time. We hope this really helped you. Animals are such a special part of our world. They're probably practically what help keep us sane most of the time. So please give them the love and the attention and the time and the health that they deserve, because they're there to make you hang in there another few years. So I hope this helps you help them. Thanks. Stick around. Keep watching MarcusNews.com. See you next time. Bye-bye.